I didn't let my sister have her wedding on my property after being uninvited. My sister Rachel and I inherited our grandmother's historic farmhouse together last year. It's this stunning 200-year-old property with gardens that photographers fight over for wedding shoots. The kind of place that costs $5,000 just to rent for a day, but it's been in our family for generations. When Rachel got engaged to Derek 6 months ago, she immediately started planning her wedding there. I was genuinely excited to help until she sat me down 3 months later with her guest list. Everyone was on there, distant cousins we barely talked to, Derek's entire college fraternity, even his parents' country club friends. Everyone except my husband Mark. Apparently, Derek's family has serious issues with Mark's criminal record from 10 years ago, a drug possession charge from college that he's completely turned his life around from. Mark now works as a social worker helping at-risk kids, has been clean for a decade, and is honestly one of the most genuine people I know. But none of that matters to Derek's uppity parents who think he'll somehow corrupt their precious wedding photos. Rachel tried to justify it, saying it's just one day, and Mark would understand if he stayed home. She actually suggested he could watch the house and make sure nothing gets stolen, while the wedding happened in our shared backyard. Like my husband is the hired security instead of her brother-in-law. I told her straight up, if Mark isn't welcome at the wedding, then the wedding isn't welcome on our property. She actually laughed it off, thinking I was just being dramatic and would come around once I realized how much work she'd already put in. The thing is, Rachel kept planning like nothing happened. She booked the caterer, hired a photographer, sent out save the dates with our address, even posted about her family estate wedding all over Instagram. She was acting like she'd called my bluff and won. 3 weeks before the wedding, vendors started calling me directly about access times and where they could park their trucks for setup. That's when I realized Rachel never told a single vendor that she might not actually have the venue. She just kept booking everything, assuming I'd cave at the last minute. I called her and reminded her that Mark still wasn't invited, which meant the wedding still wasn't happening here. She got nasty, saying I was being selfish and ruining her perfect day over something that happened a decade ago. She said Mark could just get over it for one afternoon. That's when I knew she really didn't get it. This wasn't about Mark's feelings. This was about my sister choosing to exclude my family while expecting to use our shared property. The morning of the wedding, I sat by my front window with coffee, watching as vendors started arriving to locked gates. The caterer showed up first, then the florist, then the DJ with his entire sound system, all of them calling Rachel, confused about why they couldn't get onto the property. Rachel finally showed up in her wedding dress, screaming through the gate that I was psychotic for ruining her wedding day. Derek was right behind her, threatening to sue me for breach of contract, even though we never had a contract. I walked outside and calmly handed her the yellow pages, saying maybe she should have thought about booking a backup venue when she decided to discriminate against family members. Derek started yelling about how this was all planned and they couldn't possibly find another location. The photographer was taking pictures of the whole meltdown, which honestly made the situation even more surreal. They ended up scrambling to every venue in town, but obviously everything decent was booked on a Saturday in wedding season. Rachel finally called me crying, begging to use just the backyard for the ceremony, promising Mark could come to that part. I told her it was too late for compromises. She made her choice when she decided Derek's family's comfort was more important than her own brother-in-law's dignity. She ended up getting married in the parking lot behind a McDonald's because it was literally the only place they could find that would let them set up chairs on short notice. The photos looked exactly as glamorous as you'd expect. Mark and I had a quiet dinner on our property that night, grilling on the back deck and enjoying the beautiful sunset over our grandmother's gardens. It was honestly perfect, and way more peaceful than any wedding would have been.